Okay, folks, good evening. Stormy day here. I'm not sure if we're going to get disconnected. I've been actually available to probably start this about an hour earlier, but it was storming here pretty bad. I don't want to do all this and then come to find out we get disconnected. So hopefully we'll be okay. Going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to get to work on the heffalump. And in doing that, and the crew that goes with them. So we're going to do some cleanup here. I did some of that this morning, and try to get some of these mold lines out of here. These, I believe, are Falcon miniatures. Mongol foot. I think they'll fit the bill just fine. And of course, the Mongols are another army that have no foot either, so at least in this rule set. And I want to put a little thumbnail of a Hun elephant. There's no thumbnails out there. So this will be the first one ever. Whether or not it's correct or not, it's just my artist interpretation of it. And we're going to do our best to make them look cool. Kind of go with a theme that we have going on in this army. Let's go ahead and mix up some epoxy and glue his ass down. And we'll see how many people show up. Got a lurker, that's good. Good evening to you, Mr. Lurker. Or Mrs. Lurker, I guess it could be a lady. Although according to my stats, I have no female followers. No, I don't make content that appeals to most of them. I'd be happy to have them. Like I've said before, we've actually had two ladies that participated in our DBA events. One of them even won one of the tournaments. Wow, all of a sudden this has got super thick. I don't know why that is. There we go. Glue this stuff down. Probably good for those of you guys that tune in to me in the mornings. Probably going to have a shorter session than most days tomorrow. He's going to stick out the front. There's no way around that. I don't want to cockeye him at a certain angle. This guy should have enough space to fit here. Another one on that side. Okay, perfect. All right, we don't need any of this stuff right now. Three folks, welcome. Good evening. Of course, I'm seeing a different screen than I normally see. Let me make sure that... Nope, not there. Nope. Nope. Chat box isn't there. How come? I can't even put anything down. I swear I do the same thing every time, and sometimes it just wants to misbehave. All right? Let's, there we go. I don't know why it wasn't showing there. Okay. Let me put something in there. Okay, good. Welcome. Welcome. Yeah, I was wanting to sign in earlier, but the storm was just kind of bad, so I ended up watching a couple videos. I ended up watching a rules review that I thought was pretty interesting. A skirmish World War II game. Not as interesting as the one I play, or have played in the past. Watched another review. I don't know, I didn't think that there was that many channels. That it was that common to make your hobby channel political. I don't care about people's politics. You know? I want to talk about stuff that unites us, not stuff that divides us. So, yeah, there's several channels that have quite a bit of, well, this is the way I think, and if you don't think this way, you're an idiot, and not going to change anybody's mind. That's the wrong kind of reinforcement. But I guess some people are on a crusade. I'm not really interested in encountering any crusaders. All right. That should do nicely. For now, we refresh the paint on this guy in the morning. And figure do something a little different. Let's mess with the elephant. Let's mess with the elephant crew. Just something a little bit different. I'm just not feeling just jumping right back into White Horse like I have been. I guess I got on at the right time because the storm just kind of petered out. We've had rain for many, many days now. Pretty bad thunderstorms. I'd say probably worse than any other year considering there's no storms. No like hurricanes or anything like that. So this is what we're going to work on. We need for him to dry a little bit so we can go on there, grab him by that. It is an armored elephant. We're not going to make it armored in metal. It's going to look like it's going to be leather. That's the intent. So, figure if that's metal, that's a very heavy elephant. That poor bastard's carrying a lot of stuff. What else is new? I was thinking of redoing the bases on some of my 20 mil figures. And I've got, Litco makes magnetic base bottoms that are penny sized. I picked these up a while ago, and they're meant to fit right on a penny. Now, I don't think that at the time that they had these in heavy duty. These are just standard duty. So with that said, I don't think I'm going to go and put them on them and move forward with them as much as I would have liked. You know, but I'd like to see what one of these, you know, let's split the difference. Let's see if I got a stand here. That is not round, I do. And I'm going to want to take a picture of this before and after. This is something I painted probably around 2003. And it looks like shit here in the lighting. Lighting is not ideal for this. It's really not ideal for most of this stuff. It is for painting, but it isn't for viewing, unfortunately. See if we can get. So this is some 20 millimeter World War II figures by a company called Battlefield Miniatures. And they're actually, they're a 30 caliber gun crew, 30 caliber machine gun crew. As you can see, I give my characters names. And this is how I used to do all the basing. Just put it in Woodland Phoenix flock and paint it and shake them in there. And I think we're going to try to see what these guys look like with a modern basing scheme. And in order to do that, we need to do a couple things. First of all, back when I was doing these guys, I did not gloss coat and flat coat. I did 2 coats of semi-gloss. So we're going to need to flatten these guys out. But before I do that, these guys do have some dust on them. So let's get that off. Figure by the time I mess with this, I'll be done with that other stuff will be dry. All right, next thing I'm going to do is I can actually wait to do the flat coat a little bit later. Let me take some of this stuff off. Not that it's a huge problem. Because we're going to cover this with goop. I guess I should have. Let me do that before I get too far along. Let me see if I can do this. I probably am not going to be able to do this. Let's see if I can use this as a camera. I am able to do that. Oh, and it just pauses that. Well, that's actually pretty handy. Let me take some pictures of this. Mr. Gross, welcome. All right, now I wonder if when I put this back up, if it unfreezes. Bit of wild hair there. I just got in, we'd gone out for dinner and it's raining like crazy here. All right, I should be able to just, let's disconnect from that. Let's reconnect here. I should be able to bring this thing here and stop it. Okay, come over here, go here, and start. Okay, I guess I need to relaunch it off the phone too. Okay. I enjoy painting elephants too. And elephants are gray. They may be dirty and look brown, but elephants are gray. So I paint my elephants like they're washed. All right, so we're going to do a couple things while I'm waiting for that elephant to dry. Let me get. I probably should have checked to see if this stuff was handy before I went and did this. This is something I've been wanting to do for a while. I have, and if I don't find this easy, I guess I just have to bypass it and not do it, but I have a magnet sheet. I don't remember where the hell I put it. Tell you what, I won't even use it. Let's grab some 40 by 15s. I can spare a couple. I'm not going to run out because of that. Let's get some 40 by 15s. Tell me they're wide enough. Just wide. I'm going to take 2. Take one of these. Hell, we can just glue it on and cut it later. I specifically picked these guys because they were not on the round stands. Because I don't want to put the bottoms of these in non-heavy duty for this. And I believe the round ones I have were bought before heavy duty was a thing. So we're just going to cut this off, even on the stand, and do the same on this one. Okay, so now he's magnetized, and we'll do the same thing with a 30 cal gunner. And he just fits inside of it a little bit, and that's just fine. It's not by much. Well, the frogs are happy. Okay, and we'll glue this down. Okay, now both of these are magnetized with heavy duty Litco stuff. Okay, next thing, let's scrape off the stupid woodland scenic shit we had circa 2003. This was before I ever did any DBA stuff. I don't have to do this, but It probably makes it easier if I do, especially on the back there. And I happen to like putting the surname of the characters on the stand. It's better than just call them number 1, or number 2. It's hard to put a number on a figure. And the whole point is so when you pull that chit, it's the action of that particular character. Okay, that's probably good enough on that one. You arrive, let the party begin. Hey, Nordic. Well, the storm died down. I would have been on a little earlier. Now it's TGIF. Not earlier in the day. Now. The odd thing about that number system is the U.S. had a number system for sending troops forward in battle. All right, so we got all that crap off. Let's put some goop on these guys. And then we'll have to leave these guys alone till tomorrow morning. But these figures are no longer available. I mean, they were like relatively brand new when I first got them. And then I went and played this DBA game for 20 years. And the next thing you know, I go back to this and it's gone. Like, oh, those are out of production. What do you mean you're out of production? Oh yeah, the molds are no good. What do you mean the molds are no good? You molds go to hell? I don't know these things. News to me. Now I gotta buy things when I see them or they might not be made anymore. What's sad thing is there's figures that have always been made as far as I know. And they've always been shit. Okay? And they still make those. I'm not going to mention any names. But there's some figures that are freaking old as shit. And they still make them. How come those molds aren't ruined? Since they don't cast any of them, nobody wants them. Look like crap. So I'm pretty sure I'm either going to do this or Colonial. I'm going to go back to my World War II roots. And either do this or Colonial. And I'm leaning more towards this. Because it's basically, do you want a good narrative or do you want creativity? And this might just be something I do on my own. Here. I'm not going to leave this set up at Mitch's place. He's got to use his table now to play all kinds of different games. So I'm just doing this to do it. You vote for World War II. Yep. Well, I already have lots of these. Like, I like how these guys look a lot. We'll have to take close-up pictures when they're done. But, they have semi-gloss on them. And they have basing that is not up to current standards. But other than that, they look as good as if I painted them last week. I'll tell you what. But I can't play. I wouldn't be able to design scenarios that are like, stupid, like something along the lines of like Kelly's Heroes or something like that. I'd have to do like realistic type of scenarios. Now, crazy shit may happen throughout the course of the game. The colonial stuff, I can create stupid stuff and be able to sleep at night. Not completely stupid stuff, but humorous things. But I don't think I have time or energy or desire to do both. But I do want to do some stuff with some individual figure basing. Where I can finish the stand of somebody and he's done. I can just paint 4 figures. I don't have to let me wait to get the other 4 so they match up fine on the stand. You don't have to worry about all that stuff. You can just kind of roll with it. Honestly, I've never used tanks in this system. I've read how it goes. Just as soon as I found out this system, I only got to play a few games and then we got out of it. So. Uh-oh. Those aren't white elephants. No. World War II was an interesting war. Do you consider the story from Private Ryan in the same light as Kelly's Heroes? Not even close. First of all, Kelly's Heroes, if I'm going to offend people, tough. I hate Kelly's Heroes, okay? I saw it relatively late in life. I saw it probably when I was like 19. I never watched the movie as a kid. I hate the fact that it has a 70s hippie vibe to it. It's dumb as shit. Now, I don't have a problem with the people that are in the movie. I don't have a problem with the cast. As a matter of fact, I like all those guys. I just don't like them in that movie. I never saw that kid, that movie as a kid growing up. Never. And I may be one of the few people in the world that thinks that way, because for some reason that movie is beloved by everybody. But I can't stand it. Tell you how I really feel. I don't like it at all. I grew up with stuff with like Guns of Navarone. That was the one, of all the movies that I've saw as a kid, Guns of Navarone was by far the one I saw the most. Well, remember, when you're a kid, you got to watch whatever the hell they have on TV. It's not like, you can just do anything on demand. And that's the one that was on all the time. I grew up with that one. Cross of Iron, when I could catch it. Of course, I always liked the Eastern Front, so Cross of Iron was an appeal for me then. Not like you have all these other movies that are available now. The old Battle of the Bulge, even as unrealistic as it is, we used to watch that as a kid. Those were the big 3, and I'd catch them every time they were on, because that's how you watched a movie. That's how you watched movies in the early '80s and the '70s. You watched whatever the hell they had on there for you. But no, I can't stand Kelly's Heroes. I should give it another shot. Honestly, I should try watching it one more time. But let's put some little rocks there. Let's try to spruce this up. See, I got another thing of rocks. Don't I? I don't want to run myself out of rocks. Okay, those are black. Ooh. Nah, let's stick with the same ones. I like them a little bit better. Don Sarver does overdo his part as oddball. Just recorded where Eagles Dare the other night. I'm thinking of watching it tonight. Oh! The Eagle Has Landed is a good movie. Battle of the Bulge movie sucked almost as bad as Patton. Patton wasn't bad except the action sequence. Patton, you know, the guy playing Patton, of course, was great. Just the rest of it just was hokey. But Big Red 1 also sucked balls. All I remember is them painting freaking German symbols on an Israeli tank. It should have been like Raiders of the Lost Ark. Remember when they painted the Nazi things on there and it burned off? That's what should have happened. These rocks are from a quarry that they're samples for work. I work at a concrete type place. And they were trying to get us to use this particular product. And they had all these little samples. And they had no use for them, so I took them home, and they have become very useful. But they're actually granite, so they're harder than anything on the figure at all. There's nothing on them harder than that. I think that will do. We'll leave his little happy ass to dry. And then put the assistant on here. Oh, that's the story of the rocks. What was it terrible? Oh, Patton? U.S. stuff for German stuff. There's a scene when they're in a house where he was strafed, and he was strafed by Heinkel bombers. It's just dumb. You don't watch that movie for the action, though. I mean, he was great in it. George C. Scott was great in it. That didn't have any. That didn't have anything. That wasn't part of the problem. Somebody was watching. Somebody had put a clip. Somebody had commented on a clip that was in what's the tank movie? Fury. That I don't remember seeing. I don't remember seeing this scene. And it was somebody that commented like, why did they put this war crime scene in this movie? And apparently it's a scene where they capture this German and they basically execute him, and they want to get this guy to kill him, and he doesn't kill him or whatever. I don't remember seeing. I've only seen Fury one time. I saw it in the movie theaters, and I guess I should watch it again. So I don't remember that one scene, but I'm not a Brad Pitt fan. There's parts of the movie I really did like. I liked how they made those Shermans all individual, and they made them different and gave them personality. You know, like how they were decorated. It wasn't like, okay, spray paint 4 tanks green and have at you, you know. It was, they had different accoutrements and stuff on it. They're gone. You can't get them anymore. Yep. Too much overacting, and I just dislike when they use M60s as stand-in for German tanks. They used the M47, which at least had a turret overhang in Battle of the Bulge. I didn't mind that. Don't watch those old movies for accuracy. I just want them to enjoy them. I know better than those tanks are not the real ones. Yep. I don't have a problem with the war crime thing. I'm glad that it didn't show, you know, just like one side. I mean, if I was ever in a war, I'd be guilty of war crimes. There's no doubt about it. I think most of us probably would. You don't just shoot your own guys up and then, oh, I just give up. No, sorry, pal. That just wouldn't happen. I don't think it's asking too much. But You know, even an old movie. I saw A Bridge Too Far recently again in the last 2 years, and I thought it really sucked. It had just like too many named people, and they were just in too small roles. It just tried to do too much, and I think it just wasn't my thing. It was a little too cheery, you know. Maybe things were like that back then when they made movies, but that part didn't age really well. I'm having issues with this goop getting kind of dry. I don't want to use a brush, it's worth a damn. Give me a brush, it's not worth a damn. I'll push this stuff around with a... It's funny, these figures that are bigger, I feel like the goop is more, it's almost like this, the grain on it's too big. But that's because I'm not really trying to cover anything. I don't need to use it as coverage for anything. What other old movies? I was surprised a lot of people have a problem with Saving Private Ryan. It's pretty freaking solid. I mean, I don't really care what the storyline is. I think it did a really good job of making it look gritty and realistic, and the equipment they used is and the just the overall feel of it. I think is I really cared for it. I liked it. I may have to go to a smaller grip. Like the individual rocks are too big. Crazy. I would have never thought that'd be the case. I got a smaller one, but it's made by Liquitex. And since it's not sustainable, I'm not really thrilled about using something that may not be around next time I need more of it. Certainly by the time I'm done with this, the elephant will be dry when you start messing with that. This whole thing to keep moving. And I could use these guys as is, but I'm just like, what are these guys going to look like if I did a modern basing scheme? Because I'm happy how the figures are painted. Real happy how the figures are painted. All right, let's make sure we wipe the edges. All right, we'll let these boogers dry. No, it only works if you put the right lid on it. We didn't put any rocks on it, it's fine. I don't think there's a space for any other anyways. No. Is your favorite movie Bridge Too Far? Have you seen it in a long time? I saw Gloria one time. I'm just not a Civil War Civil War fan. Okay. These miniatures, I'm doing it for what rule set? Well, we were making our own rule set, and that didn't work out because I didn't have a regular Mitch. He wasn't as regular as Mitch. And he moved away. And it's a set of rules that also is no longer available. Look, there's a rock that was just presented to me. Well, by God, we're going to put it here. Called the Face of Battle. And they're ultra skirmish. You're running like a half squad or something like that. But that's what I like. I'm not interested in moving a shitload of vehicles around. Civil War was the first area of history I latched onto as a kid. Huh. Well, you're not alone. I've never cared for it. And my dad never cared for it either, so maybe that's why I don't care for it. I'm also, I wonder if the appeal that a lot of people of the Civil War is because they had people on one side or the other or both in their own family, and my family doesn't have any of that. We weren't over on this continent yet when that was going on, so. Not sure if subconsciously that's part of the appeal or not, but. But that's okay. That's why there's lots of periods of history, Oh yeah, we promised we were going to get rid of this bastard. We're doing that now. See ya! This thing has outlasted its welcome. Overstayed its welcome. Alright. I have another elephant too, but it's got a long 88 millimeter gun. The World War II rules are on the opposite end of DBA. They're ultra detailed and nothing is abstract. And that's what I'm used to. I'm used to not abstract rules. And I'm used to rules that you find stuff and you read the sentence once and it makes sense. Whether it will appeal to anybody other than me, I don't know. I just feel like I want to paint something different. I want to paint a building. I want to weather a building. I want to buy one of those 3D printed buildings that's available online, but I'm not going to do that until I paint what I have. All right, here we go. Let's get Mr. Black. Revolutionary War reenactor. Is that also wool uniforms? That doesn't do well in Florida, I can tell you that already. It is hot as balls today, too. All right. That's flat Earth. US field drab. I'm probably going to use chocolate brown, but let me take a look at what this the leather color looks like. So many browns that are very similar to one another. And I'm looking at the ass end of them all in poor light. This field drab. I guess that means I hadn't used it in a while. If it's towards the bottom. Jesus. By God, we're going to find you. Have that many flat Earths? Well, throw them away. They're certainly old. I have a habit of not throwing things away. Another war painter. All right, it's not there. Next cubby. Here's the new flat Earth. Chocolate brown. Leather brown. Must be towards the bottom because when I entered all these colors in the paint app that I have, I probably didn't put them back in the same order they were in. It makes sense. All right, let's take a look at what that leather brown's going to do. Not just because it says leather. Oh, that's the color I got to use. Leather comes in all kinds of flavors. You're 60 miles from Philadelphia. You're right in the epicenter of a lot of important battles. Epicenter sounds like an earthquake coming. It's a revolutionary earthquake. I would want to do reenacting only if somehow you could have Miles gear or something like that. So you could, like, shoot the weapons, obviously with blanks. But, you could play like a laser tag type thing. Not like, I got you, no you didn't, yeah you did, no you didn't. Cheater. Although when I tell people what I do historical wargaming, they automatically think I'm doing some kind of reenactment and don't understand why I would want to do it. It's like, well, why are you going to do that? You already know who won. Well, if that's how it was, yeah, I wouldn't want to do it. Who'd want a war game? Well, let's war game Gettysburg, and it always turns out the way it did historically. Well, what's the point in that? In today's world. I don't like today's world. About 60 miles from important documents in our nation's history was written. Revolutionary earthquakes. They let you ring that bell? I guess if you did that, probably would be bad form, wouldn't it? Yeah. Well, that's what happens when you talk to plebs about stuff. What's the point? You already know how it's going to turn out. Yeah. That's how I feel about people that play cards for no money. And I'm not a gambler. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. But I don't want to play poker for free. You know, I don't mind losing $5 a night or something like that. It can be little money. You know, it can be little money. You touch the bell despite you not being allowed to. Uh-oh, they're going to find you. FBI is going to be knocking on your door. I think we're going to need to go over this with some degree of I don't give a shitness. Like a wet, dry brush. And most of it's going to be brown. The elephant won't be. I like to paint my elephants gray. And yes, they get dusty, but we're not building 1/35th scale war dioramas. We're building war game figures, so I like them to look a little cartoonish. And I don't mean literally cartoonish, but you know what I mean. They're just like a comic book, like a nice comic book. That's the look I'm going for. You bell toucher, you. Don't forget to ring that bell, you know, on your subscribe button. Don't forget to subscribe by ringing the bell. Yeah, I wasn't real excited this late in the day to go and build and paint 3 more light horse. Doesn't mean I'm not going to do them. I just don't need to do them now when I'm kind of like, I could almost go to sleep. At least it stopped storming. That was just stupid. It's actually a really nice elephant model. It's hard to believe that somebody sculpts this in 1-to-1 scale. It's not done with any machine help or anything. Oh, the Lion Rampant's great. It's a little. It's. You could add more things to it. I don't know how second edition is. The only thing I have bad to say about first edition is that it forces you. If you're playing the game for points, and I am not a big points person. I'm more interested in let's create a scenario when people can play both sides or, you know, what have you. But it forces you to have units of a certain size. Like all infantry must be like 6 figures or 8 figures or something like that. You can't have one of 5. You can't have one of 7. I mean, you can, you know, after you've taken some casualties, but, you know, when they're worth this amount of points, I'm not interested in that shit. You know, that just doesn't interest me. Mini-maxing. So far, this looks pretty good just for a stupid little dry brush. Let's do, what color is this? That's too close. Let's do it. Let's see what this bastard is right here. Dark sand. Let's put some dark sand in here. Of course, let's put a little bit. None comes out, none comes out. Yes, it happens to me too. I'm not afraid of showing you my mistakes. Some people, you watch their videos and, man, those guys are infallible. No, they fuck up too. They're just afraid to show you. Because then you won't prostrate yourself in front of them. No, I don't need to be worshipped. Hey, little boy, you want some candy? Do people buy candy? Got a hard candy like that? I don't remember last time I had something like that. My daughter doesn't even eat Halloween candy. She'd go and give it to the soldiers, which is really messed up. You should give it to the enemy of the soldiers. Because that way they have a sugar crash and fall asleep, and then you can... That's looking pretty good. I don't want to get this too light. I do want it to look... I was going to pull the stuff out of my closet, but I've had a hard week, and I don't want to start my weekend by having to play cleanup, so maybe we'll get to that a little bit later over the weekend. Okay, that's not looking bad. For starters. You got into a new hobby. What is it? Making lizards out of beads. Oh, you could do better than that. The problem with hard candy is I can't resist the urge to bite into it and chew it. You like doing things with your hands. Not going to go there. Why Steam? Is there a Steam downloading thing? Why are you downloading Steam? Oh, I'm not available to play. I've never gotten an invite from Steve to play something. You like using your hands, huh? Life would suck with no hands, for sure. All right. I have no idea what I'm going to make this carapace. Carapace? It's probably going to be leathery as well. Let's paint the heffalump part. All right. Heffalump gray. You switch to using your feet. He'll use his feet in the spirit of Mitch. You seen those people that have no arms and paint with their feet? Pretty amazing. Gray-green. That'll work. And of course, we're going to mix black into this. Happy little heffalump legs and a heffalump tail. I think this is only our fourth elephant. I have a Rajput one, I have a Chinese one, I have a Ptolemaic one. That's it. This is the fourth one. Oh, it's not a flag. It's his ear. I need to dry brush that guy in metal before I go any further. Let me finish this guy's ear and then we'll go and dry brush that. An armored mahout. This is supposed to be a superior elephant, so there's something about him that makes him superior. I figured, frickin' make him armored. Mahout. My face while shaking that paint pot is hilarious. Let's do it again. Fuck it. That's what I'm here for. Entertainment. Like that. It's actually arm is burning a little bit from the gym yesterday. So, not really pain, just uncomfortable. Shaking and constipation. See, I remember thinking it was hard when I was younger. And now I'm older, I'm able to finish off like 3 of these guys in a single session. Could probably use more, but I may need more beats. Rick, you're just doing it on purpose. Oh, you're just doing it on purpose, Rick. Show off. I was saying earlier before you got on here, maybe you were already on here, maybe you were the lurker. I was watching a couple of videos and I'm actually surprised. Maybe I'm not surprised because everybody's just a kook these days, but how many wargaming channels have like political content? And this one guy that I'm not subscribed to, you know, something bothered him and he just won't let it die. He like brings it up like every couple days. I'm like, Jesus, man, you're on a crusade. You know, I'm glad somebody pissed you off because that gives you a purpose in life. You know, it's like, I don't care what people's political opinions are. We're here to have fun. Laughter is the last thing we got. And if they take that away from us, well, we're going to fight then. Greetings from Australia. Yeah. The land of Oz. There's actually a unit type in Horde of things called a lurker. It really is. And I only play Horrors of Things a couple times, so I don't know what it is. It's almost like an ambushing unit that comes out like when you're within certain distance of, I think, bad going. Like it could be like a swamp creature or something, or boogeyman or something. It's almost like a Soloy, a skirmisher or something like that, but so yeah, I like Lion Rampant. I've played it 3 times. Oh, that was a nice Gleek. I played it a few times. Really enjoyed it. The mechanism of pushing your luck is cool. Some people don't like stuff like that. We happen to like it. It's kind of a game within a game. Lots of ways to skin a cat. And I can't say whether they're well written or not because I never read them. I just played them. But they were real easy to pick up. Was it Holy Diver? I like his bat reps, especially Hail Caesar ones, but he can get pretty political in his hobby rant sessions. No, not Holy Diver. But now I got to look it up. There's a guy that I don't know what his name is. I found him because it was battle reports of like Rome Total War or something like that. And he starts off like just like on a rant. He's like already like in a corner. Like, I don't care if you don't like my contact, and I'm an asshole, and he just like goes off on people for like no reason. And he's like, don't give me suggestions of what to do because I don't give a shit what your suggestions are. Just like he goes like from for no reason whatsoever. I'm like, okay, I guess. And he's got a lot of followers. I guess people like that hatred or whatever it was. Now you're writing a lot of stuff here. Let's see. Search YouTube by latest upload on Lion Rampant. Almost daily time, I'm obsessed I am. Every day I see a new vid, I get more and more anxious. I'm too old to try boogie boarding or surfing now. Like 6 years, I decided to go ice skating. And we used to do roller skating all the time in the 80s. That's what we did as kids, right? And last time I put on some ice skates. I went ice skating for the first time on my honeymoon. It was easy. It was like roller skating, except you could walk across it and you weren't sliding every which way, right? You could like stand on these things. I didn't touch them again until 15 years later or something like that. I couldn't stand freaking straight on them. I was like a cripple. I was like Jabba the Hutt. I'm like, I'm too old for this shit. Like it's, I've got the wrong body type for that. So it's all right. It's all good. Whatever. Can't be good at everything. Jeez. Holy Diver, huh? We'll have to see what it is. I don't like people that go on political rants, even if I agree with them. It's these people that are on a crusade. I don't like crusaders. I like to think they're going to change people. Can't surf because my kneecap moves out of place. Having kneecap dislocate while surfing is almost as bad as being attacked by a shark while surfing. Have you been attacked by a shark? Are you afraid of sharks? I'm not. I don't want to be bleeding, and I also don't want to be the only person out there, but I don't worry about sharks. But then I've never had a bad experience either. I want my daughter to see Jaws, but my wife's like, no, don't show it to her. She'll be scared of sharks. I'm like, why? I've seen it. You love sharks. That's the other extreme. I have a pet predator. What? There was a guy around here. I think he was around here, and it was a couple decades ago. He had a pet tiger. He had like a 500-pound tiger. Like, why would you have a 500-pound tiger? First of all, let's say he has no teeth or claws. If he falls on you, it's like a Harley falling on you. You can't get up. You know, so that reason alone, it's a lot of dead weight. The coolest shark, I think, tiger shark. They look bad. They look like they're hungry and you're tasty. Always wanted to try scuba diving, but it's expensive. Sharks are your favorite creature on the planet. Really? Of all creatures, what's your favorite creature and you say sharks? That's kind of unusual. I mean, there's worse choices. What would be a bad choice for your creature? Like, I say, hey, my favorite creature is a whatever. And you're like, that would be nobody's favorite creature. Like a worm. Worms would be like, you know, we're not talking about some weird insect. I mean, you know, like real creatures. Not some, you know, tiny thing like earwig, you know. What is a weird choice for a... You've seen plenty of Noahs in my time. You know, if you're going to have a sea predator, I'd much prefer a sperm whale. I think sperm whales are cool. Again, I don't want to be around one. They might get hungry, you know. Sharks, Noah's Arks. Must be an Australian thing. If there was a war game where you could just play as Russian sharks, would you just lose your mind? Would they be card sharks? I still think one day I'll play my dinosaur game. I think a dinosaur game is freaking badass. You're fond of big cats, lions, tigers, panthers as well. Never was a fan of lions. They look good on flags, but I much prefer tigers. Okay, that guy's done. All right, let's start messing with this gray again. Rick, you need to come here and teach me how to play it. My motivation is just like out the window to learn something new. And the game I'm talking about is Cretaceous. And supposedly there's a version 2 coming out. Where is it? I had it here somewhere. Right here on top. In the baggie. Basic impetus. Here's Cretaceous. I don't know if the game will be perfect, but I'm sure it'll be a basis to, you know, add more stuff to it. There it is. Supposedly there's a second version coming out. But I want to do it with the big plastic dinosaurs, but wise man once said you can't be into everything. You're thinking Triceratops. That's your favorite plant eater? You can't just have a favorite plant eater and a favorite meat eater. You got to be one of each. My favorite plant eater is Ankylosaurus. Easy. Easy. Old turtle boy. These are really nice counters. Let's put these here so I can show you guys. And this is just print and play. And I've mounted them on cardstock. They're ready to go. Here's Triceratops. You would like to at least once swim in the Pacific. You never swam in the Pacific? Here's one to pronounce. This dinosaur, I swear, did not exist when I was a kid. Charcharodontosaurus. What the hell, man? Somebody's got a, speech impediment. Who created that thing? Freaking nerd burglar scientist. Not fun at parties. Saltosaurus. I don't know if that one was around. Triceratops. I don't know. Are Triceratops that small? Maybe they're baby Edmontosauruses. I thought they'd be bigger than Edmontosaurus. That's me right on top. I don't know if this one comes with a Ankylosaurus. Argentinosaurus. I wonder where they found that in. South Africa, I bet. Parasaurolophus. Yeah. Thick-headed bastard. Yeah, they don't have my favorite predator. My favorite predator was Allosaurus. Anyways, I cut these out one day. Probably not going to do anything with it. I just have a really hard time picking something from the get-go and playing it. Just like Rick, you like to sit there and read rules. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I need to get my foot in the door and then read them. And what I really hate is something that apparently you're good at, and that's shuffling cards. I am terrible at shuffling cards. I've even watched videos. I can't do it. I can paint. I can't shuffle cards. Oh, no, you don't. You stay up on the couch. I've watched videos on how to do it. I can't do it. I have not been well recently, so I've been struggling to finish my Persians. I've only got the cavalry to go now, minus 4 stands. Oh, man. Hope you get better. Nothing like feeling bad and not being able to do any painting. We got a lot of guys this week that missed work. Supposedly they got the vid. I don't know that I've gotten it. Every time I hear somebody sick, though, I'm always popping vitamins. I ain't got time to get sick. Well, it wasn't so much, what dinosaur you play at. It's kind of like you get, random pull, and you might play a Triceratops and her baby that needs to cross this, from one side of the board to another, or, a couple of predators, 2 or 3 predators that, they're all trying to hunt, but they want to make sure that they get all the game. They don't want to share any, so they're fighting the other predators as well, a herd that needs to go to one spot to graze. There's grazing and stuff in the rules, but I just have trouble I have lack of interest doing stuff like that when I have to try to get things off the ground. As one of the reasons why I've kind of lost interest in playing Gaslands. It's just too much. It's too much, and on top of that, I know you can create your own stuff, but the narrative they have in their own world is stupid. Honestly, I don't like the backstory of it. I think it's ridiculous. We're getting that Triceratops and our baby across the board. Yeah, I think that'd be cool, you know. Yeah, you don't want a baby dinosaur to die. Come on, man. That's a dick move. Baby dinosaurs are cute. Nordicsaurus says otherwise. Well, you know, that's probably a better name than some dinosaurs were named. Utah Raptor. Why? They found it in Utah. Frickin' Nerdburglar, get the hell back in the frickin' science lab. No wonder you've never kissed a girl. Get the fuck back in there. Yeah, Major Mojo bastard, yeah. What if that baby dinosaur mauls your face off? You need to have a bigger face. Don't be so tasty. I'm only sympathetic to dinosaurs that don't. Nerdburglar, yeah. I'm serious. The people that name dinosaurs are morons. Just like the people that name stars, you know? Yeah, we'll name a star after you. Give us money, we'll name a star after you. Yeah, a shit name. I bet you could do a search on the internet. Dumbest dinosaurs' names. And I don't mean like Peggy, you know. There's some freaking dumbass ones. That Charodontorodontosaur. What the hell, man? Take the food out of your mouth before you start naming dinosaurs. A lot of these creatures, I was really big into them in the 70s. You know, that was the first thing I was into. And I would have just been in heaven if I would have known about these Jurassic Park movies when I was a kid. Bernard Star. No, we're not talking about that. You know, these stars that are named like freaking people's handles on Xbox. You know. Willow 8713. You did a search for dumbest things on the internet, and apparently someone named Rick Keppen was number 1 on that list. Not even close. Not even close. Not even someone named Rick is on that list. One thing right off the bat that's dumber than Rick or anybody else that's on here is those damn reels that you get. I'm not even looking for stuff. I'm like, it's all these gags that are fake. Like, why are these things being recommended to me? You know what I'm talking about. All those damn fake gags that are like, how can you not see the camera there? You know? Attention whores, that's what I call them. No, but you know what a funny thing is to look at? Dumbest school mascots. There's some doozies there. Stuff you never even heard of. And you got to limit it at college because you could have some high school stuff that's just absurd, you know. But I'm talking about college. There should be some legitimacy. You hate ads in general? No, just fake crap, like, you know, stuff that it's like, what do you take me for? Uh-oh. I smell popcorn. Yeah, you're not even close, man. Not even close. Be right back. Okay, popcorn break. Fortunately, no Gregory ran the hiccup. Couldn't persuade myself to get miniatures and instead opted for a couple of Hex Encounter war games. I was disappointed with that campaign, Gregory. Or I should say, I expected it to be A and it's B. It just has a lot of behind the scenes kind of roles and stuff, and I just have trouble getting into it. That doesn't mean they don't do a good job. Those guys are awesome, but none of them are good tacticians. I haven't seen a whole game. I don't really know. Which guy would you want to play with, and who? I'm not going to say who you wouldn't want to play with. I don't want to be negative. And you don't know how people come across on the screen. You know, some people might be like great on the screen. In real life, they're a butthole. Like me. I'm what you see is what you get. So, I honestly think they do a pretty good job describing some of the stuff. I've just watched them do a rules review, and all their rules reviews that they do, they all come with a similar score. But they have a lot of things to say about stuff. And they do a pretty good job of explaining, you know, what it is. Steve. Which guy's Steve? Is he the one that's playing Pyrrhus? Isn't he an attorney, though? I'm kind of allergic to attorneys. Might be a nice guy in real life. I prefer people that 48 figures just in crossbowmen alone. He is? Yeah. I'm not a fan of attorneys. Sorry. They did it to themselves. I'd make a terrible attorney. I'm not representing people that I think are guilty. I don't have it. I don't think I could do it. I don't need money that much to compromise myself. Hey, will you represent me? Sorry, I think you did it. You're going to burn, pal. And I'm bringing the matches. Miles does seem okay. He seems real laid back. I don't know if I don't know what you said. They're not good tacticians. I really haven't seen them any of the battles or whatever. They play too many different things. Now, there's one guy I saw play a game I would not want to play a game with. And that's the little dude that was playing in one of the Lardy's games for Chain of Command. He seems like a sneaky little cheater. Miles reminds you of Frank Chadwick. Well, not what he looks like, but he's pretty laid back. I have a feeling we have a lot more fun than they do, though. We have a hell of a lot of fun playing games. A hell of a lot of fun playing games. That's hard to beat. I'd eat this along as I went, but, you know, I don't want to paint with the hands. Popcorn break. This light is just all off. You guys can't see jack shit. Wish I could find my copy of Combined Arms. Do you have a copy of Combined Arms? Nordic? I want to see if somebody pirated a copy. I was just curious what the stats were on one vehicle. You don't. The vehicle in question is an M103. M103 being the American heavy tank with a 120 millimeter gun that entered service in limited numbers around the late 50s. I like the way he handles armor a lot. His armor numbers and stuff. I don't like the way his infantry handled it. They're a little too generic for my taste, but well, I told you it's going to be something different tonight. It's Tony eating popcorn. Look forward to painting these guys in the morning. We didn't play that many games of Combined Arms. I remember we played some Fold the Gap scenario, and there was a company of M1 Abrams. I don't even think they had the 120. I think they had the 105s in them. And they're holding the bridge, and they mowed everything that came through that bridge. And then they had thermal sights, and the Russians didn't. So what they would do is they'd drop smoke on themselves, or in front of themselves, and shoot through the smoke. That's all I remember. I had Russians, West Germans, and some Brits. Brits had the Chieftains, sexy tank. I had Arab Israelis too. Super Shermans and Centurions. One of my favorite board game covers was a game called Suez 73. I think it's a Frank Chadwick game. But it's definitely illustrated by Roger McGowan. I like that cover so much. In college, I had a graphic design class. You had to pick a favorite illustrator. I picked a favorite illustrator, and I picked Roger McGowan. And that cover, I had to reproduce it. I don't know what happened to it. I thought I had done a pretty good job with it, but cool cover, cool counters, but there was so much stuff written on the back of them. There's like all kinds of like to hit charts and shit like that. Cold War gone hot? Yeah. Yep. I had a copy of it. I don't know what happened to it. There's a lot of games like that like when it's a tank unit, it'll have like the silhouette of the tank, right? When it's an infantry unit, it just has like a standard infantry, like the NATO symbol. And I think they should either both use profiles, make the infantry look like squad leader. Like the original squad leader, where there's a silhouette of, 3 or 4 guys, going across the street or something like that, moving with weapons. And do the same thing with tanks. Or just use the NATO symbols for everybody. Really like campaign games, just to play them using Kingmaker or War of the Roses board game. I've never played that one. I know what you're talking about. I never had a chance to. Of course, when I was Avalon Hill didn't last long while I was, Avalon Hill basically folded when I was in my early 20s. I never played an SPI game. Never. Not a single one. They were gone by the time I was gaming. I did get an ASL. A lot, actually. I played it quite a bit. I would not get back into it because the turns, it's not that it's not a good game. It's just the turn structure is a little too predictable and regimented. I like a little bit more chaos than that. That's the only problem I have with it. I don't really like a 2d6 system. The whole bell curve, where you're more likely to roll 7s and then just as likely to roll a 6 or it's just, I don't care for a Snake Eyes boxcar system. I'd rather have a percentile. I could play it. I've had great games of it. I think that if you do any kind of computer gaming, I don't remember if you do computer gaming or not, Nordic. There's a computer game called get you all excited again. Hand sanitizer. I don't want that oil and shit on it. That's just with olive oil. Just a little bit of olive oil on the popcorn. There's a game called Lock and Load Tactical that is basically ASL, but it's opposed roles. So you have a unit that has a defense value, you have another unit that has an attack value. each person rolls a die and you compare them, and it's better than just one guy just sitting there and taking it. You know, not a computer console game to be honest. Well, that's a shame. It's a decent game. Like it's a good looking. I don't have a problem with counter games as long as they look good. You know. And a computer counter game forces you can't misplay the game. I mean, you can do a shitty job of playing it and not win the scenario, but you can't move too far, right? Doesn't allow you. So you can't help but learn how to play the game. I cranked that thing up and just started. It was like available when it came out. It was like really, really cheap. It was like $5 for like 10 scenarios or something. Like, okay, well, what's the worst thing that can happen? I pissed away $10. And my only gripe about it is it has a lot of bugs in player-to-player combat. I don't know if it does or not, but there's two folks in particular that I know face-to-face in real life, and they had the game, and I wanted to play it with them. And by the time I connected with them and traded turns back and forth, and they stopped communicating with each other, I burned like 2 hours, and I ended up being basically pissed off because I didn't have a finished game. So... but it plays like a board game. What it does is basically you alternate turns. It's like one guy gets to do an action with a unit or a not a unit, but you could activate a hex, or you can activate a leader that can activate hexes that are around him adjacent. Or you can activate just one unit if you want. And then you do whatever it is that you're doing with those guys. And then your opponent gets to do the same thing. So it's a lot more back and forth, not like, okay, wait till I do moving all my guys, or wait till all my guys shoot, or it's a better experience for both people. So wait in one hand and crap in the other to see which one fills first. Years ago, when I hit my late 20s, I started losing interest in those games. Now I'm in my late 30s. I'm pretty much out of video gaming. Holding out hope one day I'll wake up and there'll be a fresh friend request from my old chap buddy Nordic. We ought to just create an account. We ought to just create an account that's called Nordic Maelstrom and just like put like make-believe pictures of what he looks like, you know. In drag, of course. Why wouldn't we do that? Great Battle Civil War unit fires on another unit. That unit can return fire as well. That seems like a good idea. Have to be in drag wearing pirate stuff. Wow. You obsessed with pirate stuff? Why are people obsessed with pirates? I don't get it. I never have. Pirates seem like that show Survivor. You got to do this, and you got to walk on fire, and you got to do this, and you got to survive, and you got to do all this thing. At the end of the day, you got to have a vote, and you can be voted off. Like, pirates don't frickin' vote. Just seems silly. Never got into pirates. There's a video game many years ago. I want to say it's called Sid Meier's Pirates. And it was cool. You get to like go around and get into naval battles with other people and capture ships and stuff like that. But something will happen in the game and all of a sudden it's like, okay, it's time to send your crew home. Like, what do you mean? Oh, well, they won't stick around. You got to like hire another crew. I'm like, well, screw you, man. I'm not going to give you more shit. I know, pirates did vote. I don't like that aspect of it. It just doesn't seem, weird. It's just weird. So it's kind of like the voting they have on Survivor. You do all this badass shit. At the end of the day, it's a popularity contest. You can be the pirate. Never got into it. So we will be on in the morning, but we're not going to be on really long. Because, again, got stuff I got to do. Damn it. Damn it, man. It's a bird, it's a plane, it's damn it, man. It's a shitty superhero. Speaking of superheroes, any of you guys watch The Boys? I just can't get into this season. So one of the descriptions of these elephants had they had a sword strapped to the trunk. I'm not doing that. I'm leaving this guy as he is. It's plenty good. And some of this is all like from one Chinese traveler. Well, what if he just made shit up? Like, oh, you know what would be funny? We're gonna fuck with people 2,000 years from now and just make up shit that I supposedly saw. Like, no. Fighting back a laugh. No, I'm not going to comment on your comment. It could just get really out of control, so we're good. Let's see. I almost feel like I need to do a leather color on his face stuff. It's certainly not metal. That would just way too much. Well, we do need to do the platform, and that's going to be a lighter color. And that's going to be kind of an important part of the look of the unit. So let's go ahead and jump on that next. Mr. Dave. Nordic, he's just a Chinese bot. He could be. Only one way to find out. Let's give him a driving test. I think we could use this as a base for the wooden tower. We're going to go with this. We don't want to use a wood that's too bright. This is kind of in an arid area, and it's going to fade like a... Johan, you're half Nordic. Okay, Greg, thanks for stopping by. You're just afraid of taking that driving test, Nordic. And you guys watch The Boys? I'm a big fan of the series, but this last season's just been kind of dull. Man, I'm glad today's over with. What a pain in the ass this week's been. So goal for this weekend is get this booger painted. With crew members. I don't think that's too big an ask. I don't think that's too big an ask. I think we can pull it off. I'm not a superhero fan either. But that's a funny show. Okay. Hold on one second. What are my thoughts on convention games? Wow. I have a lot of thoughts on them. Well, there's convention games, and then there's our convention games at our convention. Our convention has one problem. And I'll tell you why it's a problem. It's a problem because it has fixed schedules. It has fixed session times. And I know why it's done that way. I mean, it makes sense. But we need to have special convention games that may not work for other conventions. There's convention games that won't work at our convention that maybe work for other conventions. So our convention has strict 4-hour session times. So if you have a game that needs 6 hours to complete in it, it's not going to work well at a convention. And there's one game that's kind of prolific at our convention called Seekrieg. I'm a big fan of Seekrieg myself, but you can't get a good game in 4 hours. You're going to have an incomplete game, which an incomplete game to me is a fail. I'd rather not play a game than a game that I know is not going to be able to finish. That didn't used to be the case, but that is for me. I don't want to play something that's like, well, if it would have gone one more turn, oh, if it had just, that kind of stuff. The problem with convention games is you have a certain amount of time that is going to be used up explaining the game to people that are maybe new to it, which I don't have a problem with it. The problem is they may not ever come back and play your game. So I don't want to run a game at a show that takes a long time to explain it, that I have to invest a lot of time into players that may or may not show up again. And yeah, that's a little egotistical, but hey, it is my time. And, it means you're going to have a game that doesn't finish. So the last time I ran a game at a con, I made the mistake of not taking that into effect. And I basically had a game that a lot of people didn't want to return to because they realized it wasn't something that was fun because they didn't get to finish it, among other reasons. So that's why I've just pretty much just stuck to, doing tournament kind of stuff, because that is the one thing about DBA is you'll finish every game. There's other people that are better at explain. Everybody has their strengths. My strength is not explaining rules to people. It isn't. I'm good at answering questions, but I can be long-winded, and it's just not it's not the thing that I'm good at. I'm not like Rick that's really good at explaining rules to games and shit like that, But maybe he sucks at painting. I don't know. Rick, do you even paint? But, I'm just saying that we don't have different strengths or whatever. So that's the only thing is with convention games. The only problem with convention games also is that I stopped going to conventions for like 6 years because I had a bad experience with one player. And it was simple. It wasn't they were cheating or anything. It was just I was supplying all this stuff and they were ham-fisting my miniatures. And I'm like, well, why am I doing this? Why am I putting on this game to deal with somebody that's unpleasant and they're mistreating the miniatures that take me forever to paint? I'm like, I'm out. And I didn't go to a show for 5 or 6 years because of this one particular person. And they weren't even cheating or doing anything. They were just being they were creating stress for me, okay? And gaming for me it should not be stressful. Hardly go to them anymore. I got good memories back in the day. Field cons in my area has changed since then, though. Okay, Nordic. Yep. Don't think modern rule sets are even appropriate to conventions. Rules have just gotten so involved. I absolutely suck at painting. Every time I see your Facebook post a finished product, I think, I'm going to sit down and paint some of my unpainted stuff. You should. And get better at it. And, I don't get discouraged by seeing stuff that... there's some wizards out there. I'm like, all right. Like, I've been dissecting buildings. This last week, I've been like, all right. As I watched one guy, how he painted buildings, and I'm like, okay. He did something I never would have thought to do. And I'm like, okay, now I'm trying to dissect how they did it. So I want to pull out some of my World War II stuff and do one of the buildings. But I'd rather get this elephant done this weekend. But I don't like most gamers. But I don't like most people. So some people just win at all costs, folks. I don't want to be around with them, I'm actually getting away from doing competitive tournament stuff. Not because I don't like being competitive. Hell, I'm competitive in everything I play. But I like scenarios that are a little bit... I like doing some scenarios that are unbalanced. And then you just get to play both sides. You don't have to worry about play balance, so much. It's not a means to an end. Some people are better teachers. We have been a teacher who runs excellent games, explains things on a 6th grade level. I'm not a good explainer, I'm not. And I don't do well with, there's one guy in particular that he'd ask questions, and before I'm done with his answer, he's already asking another question. It's like, oh, wait a second. You're the asshole that asked the question. Aren't you going to stick around for the answer? And I wasn't like I was long-winded or anything, but he's already asking me other things. It's like, You have a condition that I'm not certified to treat. Okay? I'm not good at explaining things because I'm long winded, not because I'm not, I keep information from people, you know. You're a terrible explainer. Yeah, we can't be good at everything. Yeah. Commander's got me back and I painted recently. It feels good to paint little 15 millimeter. Both have an entire company size maneuver element is done. That's the rule set I started with back in 88, 87, 88, something like that. Well, the original game I think came out in 86. Always wanted to play that Barbarossa 25. It's like the DVA of World War II. No, it's better written. You can read that and it makes sense. I just don't like how he handles infantry. It's a little too generic for my taste. The other thing about painting is that, yeah, it develops over time, but you have to find value in doing it as you go. Like, for instance, if you want to go to like the gym, all right, and the only purpose of you going to the gym is that one day you'll be all buff and shit, but you hate the experience and all the stuff that you have to do to get there, then you probably shouldn't go. It's just like if you hate painting and if you hate the therapy that it brings, because it brings me therapy, and you're only worried about how it's going to turn out, then you probably shouldn't paint. I find it very therapeutic. So yeah, I like seeing things done, but the process is enjoyable as well. It's relaxing also. If this was stress causing, I'd be like, I'm out. I'm not interested in. This doesn't pay enough to you know. Joseph Nettles, welcome. All right, let's start adding. Well, we still haven't made it down to the core color yet. Let me I didn't have anything. What is this? Just a tiny little bit of coffee. Let me go grab the last soda that we have in the house. I'll be right back. Took a little bit longer than expected. Not getting along with gamers anymore. Well, not everybody. Just some people just don't. Some people have the wrong attitude. It was mixed for me when I did a Mech Warrior Dark Age tournaments in the early 2000s. A lot of attitudes. Never got into Dark Age. Still play the old BattleTech Compendium. Rules of Warfare, though, that will be forever BattleTech for me. If any of you guys do computer gaming, the new BattleTech game, well, it's not new. It's been out 4 years. It's wonderful. And if you played the miniatures game, it's a perfect port. It is an excellent freaking game. And it's really affordable now because it's like 4 years old or something like that. It looks great. It's challenging. It's really pretty cool. It's really pretty cool. Supposedly, one of the people that is the designer was originally one of the BattleTech guys. So they ported all that stuff over. You'll know how to play it in no time if you played BattleTech before. You like it, huh? Okay, yeah, it's great. I haven't played any of the mods yet. Actually, I haven't played it in about a year. After a while, it's kind of repetitive, but it is challenging. It is challenging. Like, I haven't played with any of the vehicles. I know which ones your mods you're talking about, like with vehicles and stuff like that. You know, a game doesn't have to be perfect. You'll eventually get tired of it. I'm talking about computer games. It just needs to be a good value. You don't want to spend like $50 on something and you play it for like a week and then you're like, I don't want to play it again. You know, you get something at a discount and you play it for like 6 months, and if you never play it again, you got your money's worth out of it. Your son's playing it right now as you speak. Yeah, it's a great game. It has really nice graphics. The art, whoever did the artwork between the cut sequences, I really, really like it. I really, really like it. And hey, it's not historical, it's science fiction. But, you know, I grew up playing that. The first miniatures I ever sold on eBay, you know, sold like to get rid of because I didn't play them anymore, were my BattleTechs. 3062 in the vehicles he's working on right now. Okay. Are there other campaigns? I love the Stalkers. I love the Stalkers. A lot of them, but those in particular. And the way it handles heat. It does a lot of things really, really well. And I'm telling you, it's like, it brought back all kinds of memories that I don't remember from 30 years ago. Like Masters of Orion 2, Civilization, Total War games are good ones. Never cared for Civilization much. I've played a lot of the Total War ones. I don't believe so. Most of the mods adjust the map for the after campaign. I'll have to mess with that. I just haven't messed with it in about a year. But, you know, I'm playing that. I'm not painting. So I got to be careful. I don't have to be careful. I just don't, you know, in the past I would have been tempted and I wouldn't get anything done. Now I'm like 30 minutes in, I'm like, can I go paint? I think everything, the more games you play, the more things you've seen. It's just like, oh, I've seen this before. You know, I've done that before. Picked up the Battletech game in 1985-89. Can't remember exact date. I like the, what was it, the 3025 or the 3050, you get the clan crap, and I'm like, I didn't care for that. But sometimes, and that's a pretty popular game, but there's some games that are really popular I just can't get into. Like, I wanted to play that Ultimate General American Civil War. And I know it's a Civil War game, but it looked pretty cool. But, you know, I start playing it, and I'm like, it doesn't feel Civil War-ish at all. You know, it could just be any other kind of game. So I wanted to like it, but it just didn't work out. So, you know, you play it for 20 minutes, 15 minutes, you realize this isn't going your way, you return it and you get your money back. So I guess that system works okay. Only thing I don't like about computer games, I'm really limited on space on my computer. That was not a priority for me, so I got a, what is this thing called? I don't even know anymore. But I got it just before the pandemic started. It's a good thing because shortage of things, but it's Microsoft Book 2 or something. It's a something 2. It's great. You know, it has all the performance I need in areas that I need it in. Games work fine on it as well. It just doesn't have a lot of memory. You know, which is fine. You don't have to keep everything on the computer. Book 2, I don't know. That's the thing about computers is stuff changes so much. It's like a, you know, laptop thing. It's the first laptop I've ever had. And I'm probably always going to have laptops from now on because the fact that it's portable is very handy. I just can't see having a desktop again, and you can only use it here, and you travel or anything, you can bring your computer with you, or it just makes sense. Picked up exterior 1 2 terabyte hard drives to save stuff on, including pictures, again before the pandemic. Yeah, now I'm not spending that kind of money and not laying hands on it, you know what I mean? Like, I wanted to try the keyboard and everything, make sure it's what I wanted. I hadn't bought a computer in like 10 years before. And they will eventually die out. Just the little like electrodes or whatever, they just don't work as well as they used to. Surface Book 2, something like that. Had to lay hands on it at Best Buy. All right, I gotta look at this in the, yeah, it's about the color I like. Not gonna get the right look of this until you see pictures of it, because the lighting in here is great for me, but not so good for you guys. It's too strong. It's too like overpowering on video. Yeah, I'm not buying a computer without sight unseen. I'm not buying a car without test driving. Oh, we don't do that anymore. Well, we used to. Can't stand up. You got to stand up against shit like that. They'll just be like, oh, well, this is just the new normal. Not in my world, it isn't. That's how they get away with it. Everybody accepting the new bullshit. I don't mind buying stuff online, but a couple $1,000 is, that's too significant to like go through all the trouble of returning it, and that's not a $20 item, a $50 item. That's like something you only buy once a decade. We demanded seeing our new house before we bought it. Looked at a lot of them. They wanted you to buy a house without looking at it? What kind of horse shit's that? Yeah, I'm not letting people get away with shit like that. Well, you guys can't really see it, but I'm real happy with how this is turning out. Just take some TLC, going over it again and going over it again, and I don't mind this process taking a while. But when you work on something in computers or something like that, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's gone. No, this isn't. Oh, it's gone. Unless somebody comes in here, rapes me, and takes this from my hand. You know, it's just slow, and and you just have to build upon what you did the previous day. Oh yeah, make that wood look dry. Yeah, it's grayish looking. It was being done in quite a few areas during the pandemic, and some realty companies tried to keep it up afterwards. Screw those guys. Hope to go out of business. Just like, I'm okay with cars being MSRP from now on. I really am, because that whole haggling thing is horseshit. It just wastes everybody time. But that paying more than MSRP? No. No. Not in my America, pal. Get out of here. No. Don't give in, folks. You guys aren't seeing the color I'm seeing, but yeah, it doesn't look like that. That looks like putty. Actually, be okay if it looked like that, but it doesn't look like that. It's just this light's too bright. Okay. Pretty cool. It'd be a good starting point for wherever I pick this up tomorrow. How are these guys doing anyways? Oh, they're probably pretty dry. We're not going to mess with them today. We'll mess with these clowns tomorrow. I'll tell you what I am going to do though, because I want to tinker with these guys in the morning. I'm going to go ahead and dull coat them. I'm going to go ahead and put that on them. And then we'll call it a night. Now, of course, I don't have a clue how this looks because I've had my face in it. Let me grab some Bowman and a light horse. Bowman and a light horse. Basing will be the same as these guys. Man, why is it so like glary? Let me see if I can fix that. White balance, exposure, offset. That's a little better. And you can see how the elephant looks different now. That's better. Still kind of dull. I don't know, video things don't turn out as well as they should on here. So let's take a look at this next to this. Yeah. The basing will look the same. Cool. All right, let's base these guys and give these guys a flat coat on them. And then we'll call it a night. Because we got to be up at less than 7 hours. Because that's how you get shit done. You don't get shit done by staying asleep, wasting your whole weekend. Where is this? Remember, this isn't stressful. This is relaxationary. When I used to do this World War II stuff, I used to give them 2 coats of sealer, but they were both semi-gloss. And I don't know why I did that. Well, we didn't have the internet to share ideas with other folks. Okay. And this fellow right here. Okay, we'll leave this guy to... We're going to have some little grasses and stuff on there. should look significantly better. And I will probably, if I like it, I will probably retrofit my World War II figures just by the basing and by dull coating them to a more modern standard. Okay, folks, thanks for stopping by. Catch you guys in the morning, if you guys are around at that time. And, oh, hold on a second, let's do that. And, yeah, pick up where we left off here. The Heffalump. And there's no examples of any Hun elephants at all that I can tell. So this is tip of the sword here. So, all right, folks. Rick, good night. We'll see you guys soon. Happy